Okay, so welcome to this video. And in the last video, this is to my saved page, right? Progress here, what we did in the last video. And there was something I was supposed to tell you about, but about this CSS method that I didn't cover in the last video. So I'm just going to be telling you first thing now. So what you should know about this different method of CSS styling is that they have something called the order of precedence. So, and what this means is that when you use them together or at the same time or something like that, some of them should take a higher order of precedence than the other or something like that. Some overrides the other. I don't want to use some because they're just three. One overrides the other, and so that's just what order of precedence in CSS styling means. So the one that has the highest order of precedence is the inline styling. So yeah, inline styling has highest order of precedence among these three, right? So meaning that when I keep this stuff in my paragraph tag and also keep this external styling right in another document or stuff, this inline styling overrides the external styling. That's just what it means. I don't want to go into an example now, but let me just explain it more explicitly. Okay, perhaps I keep my paragraph tag and give it an inline styling of color red, right? Color red, and I also add this external styling with color green. Depending according to order of precedence, inline styling is the highest, so the paragraph should appear as red and not green because it overrides this external styling. So the order of precedence goes like this: high is the highest, this is in the middle, and then this is the lowest in order of precedence. So most times people just use this external styling because it allows for more detailed, you can just style a lot of stuff without having to do it one by one, single like that in different tags. Once I just keep my P tag right, it applies for all of them. So that's why this external styling here is way more suitable and advanced or something like that. So yeah, that's just about this method of styling in CSS. So as long as you can just remember what I said now, those few things, order of precedence, CSS and stuff, that's all about it. Just use external styling. If we get into the practice part, this is what we're going to be using, except in some cases where you just need to style something single-handedly or something, just particular, and then use your inline styling. But most times nobody uses this, just because of, I don't know, but either this or this. In most cases external. So I said in the last video that today we're going to be looking at input tag, form tags, and also table tags. You can create a particular table, right? With the table tag in HTML, right? Just a simple table, and you can make it quite complex as much as you want. You can even use your CSS to style it, right? So let's just be looking at it, right? Our input tag, and we don't need it. I was talking about the self-closing tags, and image was included, so that's why I kept this here, right? Self-closing tag. In input tag is also an example of self-closing tag. So for the input tag, I told you in the last video also, right, that most times it is used in between the form tags to collect user information. You can also use it by itself. No one is asking you not to, but right, you can use it by itself and just want to collect a few lines of those things, right? Depending, you can do anything you want in HTML, but most times it's used within the form tag. I will show you how to use this in both cases, right? Alone and also inside the form tag, right? And so let's just be looking at that now. Okay, yeah, so the input tag comes with kind of one compulsory attribute and the attribute is called the type attribute. So this is my input tag, and with Emmet you can easily just press your tab key and then they keep this type for you, right? Yeah, so this is what it does. Like I told you, you can collect user information with the input tag, and that's why it brings in that stuff, right? This box, where's my arrow? I can't find. Okay, yeah, so it brings in this stuff, right? And that's what input tag is, and that's how you collect user information. So it comes with this particular compulsory attribute type. There are other attributes, or not really attributes, let's just say values, required values or optional values you can use inside this. So this one is pretty much a compulsory value, which is the type, right? So the type right now is kind of defining rather the format of what I should keep inside my input tag, and it says text. Yeah, so I want to write my text, a few words, right? And I want user to keep stuff like in text format, and I use my input tag type text, you know. So now if I click in this box, this happens, you know. So my cursor right now is blinking into that, and I can type I can put stuff right inside of you. I don't want it that way. I don't want it to shift this part, right? So I can put stuff in you, and I just wrote it inside that provided box that comes along the default input type, right? You know, input tag, this comes with it, right? Default. So yeah, I just kept in some of those text. Yeah, so what you should know by now is just like the type right now is defining text. It means there's also different kind of values that I can substitute for this text. You know, one of those values, if I'm not wrong, I guess yeah, should be, I can keep in dates. I just removed from my text, which gave me this text here, this text thing, and I kept in date. So what? Yeah, it brings in another input box with the formats for date, month, day, and yeah. That's just how you use this input tag, and you can see you can do a lot of stuff with it though. And if I click here, okay, it's moving up, right? It's moving up. Yeah, right. You see this? Okay, so it's just moving up. By clicking on this, I can actually select what the full date I want without using this toggle up down button, right? So I can just use this one right here, and a calendar should come out. Yeah, this is it here. I can decide to keep the month and the day, right? Okay, yeah. Then the year, but this is not my year. So 2020, right? So this is just dates, just to give you a date, how to write a date, right? Then just because I specify the type as date. So this is the default that comes with input tag type dates. Meaning that you can actually style this box and everything in this, like with your CSS, right? You can style it up and just know that this is the default. And the last type you can specify, I don't really think is the last, but the last one I know stuff, you know. There are a lot more, but with time you should just know all this stuff. The last one is file. You can keep in file, right? File. And this should just bring out something here. You know, it turns out you can actually use the file type, right, to choose or upload stuff directly from your PC, right? And now this stuff is being blank. So now after specifying right as my input type attribute, right, or compulsory value as file, you can see this box that says choose a file. You know, when you go to those websites, and you can just upload a file directly from your phone or your PC, right? So now if I click in this button, this stuff should just bring out that normal select a folder from your drive, right? And this is it here. You can just keep in your file name and put open, but we are not opening to anything here, right? So nothing should happen. Normally if there was an upload button, right, you can just keep on open, then upload your file to maybe the website or stuff, but none of that is available now. And that's just how, you know, you can just use the file type inside the input tag. So now we just covered the three types, you know, the simple three types you can specify in your input tag, right? Text, text, date, and file. Text, date, file. And like I said, you can keep this input tag inside the form tag. That's actually where it's used most of the time. You know, you don't just collect one line of user information, right? Most time you use form tag to collect a few of them. You can keep input, name, first name, last name, date of birth, right, and just all those stuff. And the form tag comes with submit button, right? So let's just see how it is for now. So form, yeah, I used my emmet and this stuff should just come out. Form tag, closing and opening tag, right? And then this action, we won't really be going into it for now because it just deals with PHP, right? When you're learning PHP, I'll just talk more about this action. But what it does now is that after I specify my values, mainly with input, I get user information, everything written into inside the input tag, and they're just there now. So when they click on that submit button, you know, there should be a submit button somewhere, and what the submit button does is it takes the file or the content, you know, that was just inputted, and kind of delivers it to this action location. And most time the action is just a PHP document that processes it, maybe takes it to the database, right, and fill in that user information somewhere. But that's what the action attributes of value does, you know, takes in the content and delivers it to your PHP or requesting documents. The PHP is most time requesting that stuff, so once it comes, it receives it, and that's just how the process works. So for now, you see I kept in form tag, but nothing is displayed here at all, you know, so you have to use your input tag at the end of the day. So you can put input, right, text. No, I'll be showing you, you know, I said there's also an optional value you can specify in input apart from the type. The type is usually very compulsory, you know, for you to just tell what the input to be trying to collect, you know. So you can use the optional value, which would be placeholder, yeah, you know. So you can just type in placeholder, right, equal to double quotes, and anything you specify inside of this, should be I'll just show you something. I'll just show you how it looks like, you know. It can't just be, you know, so just so I can keep in input, right, first name, you know, rather placeholder first name, and it's just more like directing the user or the visitor on what to do in that particular input box, you know. So I kept in my placeholder and specified it as first name. So I'm pretty much telling the user, keep your first name inside this box. That's what it does, you know. Placeholder is an optional value. If you don't use it, input tag is going to still work, but you can just use it. Most people use it just to tell people how to go about it, right, you know. So that's how the two values those works for the input tag, you know. So I can also keep in as many input tags as I want, right? So this is what we just doing, right? So we can keep it as much as we want. We can change this to last name. Oh, okay, yeah. So we kept the first one as first name, right? And the placeholder value, we can keep the second one naturally. Your last name, please. Okay, so let's just come up here. All right. So this is our first input, then this is our second input, right? Of course we can keep in as much as we want. We can keep, let's just keep date of birth, right? Let's keep date of birth. So this, we have to change this to dates. So we want the date format, and then placeholder can be first name anymore, so DOB, right? So date of birth, that is right. And I want my numbers. Can I please put 3? Okay, so it's trying to load, just load. I don't know what's the problem now. Okay, I guess I can also do submit, meaning this should be my submit this file, right? This doesn't need a placeholder. So yeah, this is what I wanted. Submit it when you're through with keeping in your info, right? I don't know where I can keep 3. Yeah, I would have loved to keep 3. I can select this. You must be kidding me, right? Let's just, oh, awesome, right? So 3 and 4. Damn. Go away. Good. Okay, so 1 2 3 4. We just kept in those 4 values, right? And you should also know that this input type submit can also be button instead. Most people don't use input for submit button. You can just use button for that instead. So let me just try and change it to a button, right? Button is also a tag, button tag. And whoa. Yeah, turns out I have to keep submit for it to get the value like I'm hoping. Nope, that's not the same tag. Yeah, so it goes like this. Since it just showed you what it's because right now the stuff is not rendering, because I used input tag at first and it's rendered, because input tag is a self-closing tag. But since button is not, it needs me to keep in the submit naturally. Then I have to close my button, so that was why that stuff went black. Can you come up, please? Well, let me try and save and just reload this. Okay, yeah. Just reload this and see what is going on up there. It should be submit though, it should, because I just kept that inside the opening and closing tag submit, because it was the input tag. We didn't get that. You don't need to actually close your input tag. You just need to okay, yeah, you see it's pretty much the same thing, just I have to keep in my closing tag and put this submit as a normal text in between the 2 tags. But when it's for input, because it's a self-closing tag, you don't need to do that. It keeps it for you naturally. So this is my month, day and year, right? There's a way to actually clean up this thing. Default clean, just clean it up, because I kept placing it as DOB and it's still showing it. But just know that that's how that works. For now, that's how it works. And if you notice, we got this in a straight line, and no form is usually like this. We need this to go down, down, and down, right? It needs to go underneath all this, right? You don't want just want it on a straight line. So I'll just show you how to do that. We used the tag, we already got I already explained the tag called the break tag. You can use the break tag to move them underneath each other. Okay, so let's just use the break tag, right, to put them one under the other, right? Obviously I can just keep my break tag at that side where the cursor is now. Break, also this break, and this break. Oh yeah, submit should go down. So yeah, so now we got them normal inline. you call that kind of stuff inline, meaning they were all on a straight line. So now they are more like block. So what block means is that a character or an element that has the block property, meaning that they span the full width of the view or the full width of the page, the available page and stuff like that, if you get my point. So that's what a block element means. If they are inline, it means they take only the space that how big, how wide they are, that's the only space they consume. But when they become block, like I just made them to be, well, they're not pretty much block, they're inline, but I just use this break tag to, you know, put them below each other, right? Now they're kind of in a block format, so now they're taking the full width of the screen, right? You know, so if you notice, they are kind of tight here. It's just tight, no space, and the form looks bad. So what we can do is that we can decide to put an extra break tag, right? So we can just keep this break tag, you know. So by doing this, we are providing an extra new line, you know. Submit should do now. Okay, yeah, it looks way better than before now. You know, you can see this extra line, right, because of this additional break tag, you know. So I told you the break tag provides a new line. At first they were all on the straight line, so the break tag was, the action it was taking was putting them below each other. But now I kept an extra, so instead of below each other, it's still pushing them down. That's what generated this space for us. So you can see you can just use the break tag, right? I can also decide to, instead of using this break tag, I can enclose this this input tag rather. I can keep this input tag, all this input tag one after the other inside a paragraph tag. Like I told you the last time, paragraph tag automatically adds a new line above and below itself, you know. So instead of having to add this double brown, right, sorry, break tag, right, I could just keep this thing instead inside a paragraph tag, and I wouldn't have any need for this, you know. So yeah, break tag looks fine. Let's just leave it that way. So you keep in your first name, you know, your last name, right, your date of birth, and then you can put submit. So what happens when you click the submit is, it's the action, like I told you, right? This action here is going to, what is specified within this double quote is what the PHP document that should be receiving your information inside this form, yeah, inside that form, right? So we can also do something else, and which is we can add an input tag for email. Yeah, you can do that too. So I can just add it here. Instead of this text, I easily simply change it to email. Then this can also be changed to example@gmail.com. So I'm just keeping a placeholder for what my email input box should display, and it does it. Oh yeah, so because I'm saved into my Google Drive here, my Google account, that's why it's you know, automatically trying to put in the email I use most of the time, right, inside that box that is specified for email. So that's how input tag works. And I'm also going to be showing you another input tag that you can use called the radio buttons. Okay, so let's just be looking at the last type of input. I'll be specifying right as radio. They're called radio buttons for you to pick one of two items or options or three, depending on how the developer wants that. So let's just see how it looks like. So we're keeping it below the date of birth, right? So I can just copy this, right? And next is I can just click on radio. And this radio is a bit more complicated than the ones we've been looking at. So instead of placeholder, I'm gonna be keeping name, equal to double quotes gender, gender, and I can also keep value equal to double quotes male. So on yeah, so that shows. Let me see what renders. Okay, so we got one of those radio buttons, but it's blank. There's nothing there. I can just keep this for users to use. So what I can do is I can keep in what should appear, and I can just easily say mail, right? So it should come up now soon. It should come up. Oh yeah, we got mail here now. So I'm gonna be copying this, and instead of putting two break tags, I will just want one, because I want it to be one after the other directly. So on just a minute, this I can decide to keep female, right? Female dad, and female, right? Female. Is that stuff? Yeah. Okay, that's it. So that's all we got here. Radio buttons, it switches. You can only pick one value, so either you pick the male or you pick the female, and then just like a very simple form that someone can just use for their website, or just create something, right? Yeah. So simple. So you see how that radio buttons just works, and you can decide to keep other options, 18 plus above or no, 18 plus above and stuff. Those are just the kind of things you can do with your form, and it's pretty important. You do use it a lot. Your contact page and your website, you can just keep your form there, a lot of things. And while this looks very ugly, yeah, it does look ugly because of I'm just using HTML to define the structure. I can decide to start using CSS here, of which maybe if you just look at a bit, right? Just edit a bit of those elements and try to give them a new look, so I'll be using CSS to just do some of those right now. We can decide to first and foremost use our form tag and do something like so. You'll be learning some new properties also, because as any styling I'm doing in CSS involves the properties, right? So just learn them now, and we can do font size, maybe font size, 20 pixels. Okay, they're a bit bigger now. Whoa, no, I don't want that, because this just became so large and my placeholder is still the same thing. So we don't want that. So you can just I just want to make it a bit bigger. I can do padding. Okay, now padding just made it move away from a bit of this from the side of this part, right? It kind of provided a margin, pushed it a bit to the right, sorry, to the right. Well, so padding that. I can also do a little margin. $10 pixels. Okay, so it's moved a bit down, so I can also do background, right? Background color or something. So you can decide to put something like gray, right, to not make it so shouty and stuff. You can decide to put some gray. Yeah, okay. So now it spans the full width of this particular where it is, it's space, right? It spans the full width, right? Because form is actually a block element. Form is a block element, you know, something like div is also a block element. It spans the full width. Paragraph is also a block element. So just like that, you know, we have some elements that are inline by default, and one of them is span. Span is just when you want to just define a particular, you know, maybe a word or so, and just let it take that particular part, you know, without stretching to take as full width as it can, you know. So span is an inline element. So yeah, we can get this background, and you know, so you can start creating your forms like this, little by little, adding your stuff. But since Bootstrap came out, no one does this. Well, most people don't do this, you know. Perhaps it's very advisable when you're just learning how to create use HTML to be doing this, but as time goes on, you just find out that Bootstrap has just defined all these things for you. Very awesome. They look extremely good, and you can just go there, and as long as you integrate Bootstrap well inside your website or stuff, you can just create forms, you can create forms, you can create navigation bars, you can create images that does stuff, you know, a lot of things with Bootstrap, and we'll be looking at that soon. But I need us to just brush through this thing, and I need to make sure you can actually code stuff, you know. So like what I was proposing is just for you to get CodePen, right? You get CodePen, you create an account, you know, I'll give you a particular exercise or stuff, what to do, right? From the first lesson, second lesson, just create something yourself, and I can easily be using this action, right? This action to get what you've done and see it here. Maybe make some comment, right? Comment in some part how you did it, if it's right or wrong, or what you can improve on that, right? Comment, and then you can now use this action to get it into your pen, right? All these things are called pen. This is a new pen, and I should actually change it because we're not doing tags and I use everything like input forms and table tags, right? Okay, yeah, so that's good enough. So you know what I'm just saying, just for you to show me some of these things that you know them, right? And we'll actually be moving into table now, you know, table elements and how it works, right? So the table elements, I don't really want to be saying okay, but we don't use it all that much, but it's just a good thing for you to know there's something like a table element, and you can actually create a table with something, or you know. So this is just the normal table element, and what the table element consists of are headers and rows, you know. Something like the headers define the column, and then the rows are the rows, you know. So you define the header of the like more like the title, something like maths, English, physics, right? Biology. Those would be the headers, and then you can actually put the overall scores of all the students in the rows, 100 and stuff, right? So that's just a description of how the header and rows differ, or what they do in a table element, right?